What fascinates us about conspiracy theories? Easy question to answer perhaps, but whether we believe them or not, however, is an entirely different question. So what makes some people so cavalier about creating and believing in conspiracy theories? It's easy to confuse beliefs in conspiracy theories with having a skeptical mind. So are people who believe in conspiracy theories skeptics? Perhaps they are. One of the most common conspiracy theories is the belief that the moon landing by Apollo 11 on the 20th of July 1969 never occurred, and were in fact recorded in a studio in a desperate attempt to beat the Soviet Union in the space race to end the Cold War. An overwhelming majority of people have no trouble believing that the Apollo 11 moon landing wasn't faked. In fact, all the evidence points to it being real, and not just evidence provided by NASA or the American government, but by the entire world. And what are the chances that the entire world is in on a conspiracy perpetrated by the US government? So why is there still a minority that believes it was faked? What makes some individuals so skeptical towards their governments and the achievements of mankind? Is it perhaps because it is so hard to imagine that people managed to go to the moon with such limited technology? Or is it purely mistrust in our governments? And why do some people have such mistrust for their governments? Area 51, a perfect example of how people's mistrust of their government has gone to an extreme. Area 51 in Nevada, US is a top-secret military airbase on which experimental aircraft and weapons known as black projects are most likely being developed. The reason it is shrouded in so much secrecy is due to the fact that foreign governments aren't necessarily friendly, and espionage is still a common practice. Almost every country in the modern world that do military research and development has bases that fill the same niche as Area 51, and almost all of them have conspiracy theories attached to them. Instinctively, I want to resort to calling people who believe in conspiracy theories nuts, but is there any truth to any of them? And whether there is or not, do conspiracy theories generate a healthy distrust of large powerhouses, such as the US government? A lot of us live in smaller countries in which our respective military have limited political power, so we have little reason to question our government's involvement in conspiracies. But is that because our governments are aware of how eager people are to jump on anything our governments do wrong? Do conspiracy theories scare our governments into listening to its people? No, of course not. Conspiracy theories are but feeble attempts to reveal the true nature of governments, but they do little to uncover any actual truths. There are of course conspiracies that turned out to be true, but those were not exposed by dedicated conspiracy theorists, but by skeptical minds that ask the right questions and do the research. Governments should not be able to get away with inhuman or manipulative actions towards their populations or the people and governments of other countries. There are people that do the research and knows what questions to ask and when to discard false facts when they are not supported by the evidence. Evidence, empirical data that supports the hypothesis of whether something is true or false, is key to proper science and research. This applies to conspiracy theories as well. Conspiracy theorists come up with a conclusion first and then try to fit the evidence to that conclusion, and ignores all the facts that don't support that conclusion. This is referred to as pseudoscience. It is science done in the wrong order for the wrong reason. Science evolves. Our position shifts when new data disproves previously held ideas and hypotheses, and our beliefs are irrelevant when the scientific process eliminates any possibility of them being true. A proper scientist changes her view to fit the scientific data, not her scientific data to fit her beliefs. This has been part 1 of my thoughts on conspiracy theories. Tune back in for part 2, where I will discuss some thoughts on flat earthers and 9/11 truthers. This has been Alexander with some thoughts on conspiracy theories. Cheerio!